What do you think, Pastor Hank? Elon Musk.
Well, I'm a muscle car man, not a Tesla guy. But here's the real deal. I think, remember on Flashpoint, we've been saying when they first introduced Elon Musk, when people were like, well, you know, what's going on with this guy? We said, we're going to say, who is this Musk man? And I think that's what the world is seeing. But here's what is outrageous, is the people that are pushing back. You think they would be outraged that they've been ripped off as American people. But lastly, I want to just say this. I believe that when you're messing with the brilliance of a man like Elon, with these cyber attacks, it's only going to lead, I believe, to some kind of intelligence that is going to bring in the upcoming months or whatever, is going to bring some kind of restraint and restriction to where a lot of these cyber things aren't going to have the effect that they have. So what has been meant for harm is actually going to be meant as a weapon against those who are trying to do these things.
Hey, Pastor Hank, you saw that report. I mean, we all knew that Trump was going to have an effect at the border, but I'll be honest, I did not think it'd be this much, this fast. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, it is surprising, but once again, this is what strong leadership does. And then, you know, we've been saying it on Flashpoint. When you get the right person in power and you do what's right for the American people, you establish something. In the border is the word order, and that's what you see happening. And it wasn't just too long ago that we saw the very opposite. So this is refreshing to us, the American people, who want order on our border.
All right, let me go back to the people on that Thursday night. Wednesday night's politics. Thursday night is where we're going to see you're staying over to help me, but we're going to see God do things for the people on Thursday night. Lou will be there. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, Colorado, God said that it's going to be known as Colorado, that they're going to line up with the will of God, and there is a great reform that is coming. And that's what I love about the first day of the event. It's like you said, we're going to help people get to the next level. We're going to show them what to do so that we can continue to push this nation forward and never go back to the way that it used to be. And then, to your point, the next day, Gene, when we had that first event in January at our church, I tell you, there were a lot of people, and we prayed for every single person that wanted prayer, and we stayed there until every last one of them got a touch. And that's what makes what Flashpoint is about so unique, is not just informing people, but ministering to their need. And it's beautiful because testimonies are coming for what God did in the people's lives.
Absolutely, and we will be doing that as well. Anybody who wants to be prayed for will be prayed for on that Thursday night. So come expecting, and I look forward to seeing you. And Ed, I'm going to have to get you to one of these events if you can ever stay in the country long enough.
I know. I was so impressed with your events that we got to talk about that. No, I just got back from Australia, man. Let me tell you, I know you didn't ask me this, but God is moving in Australia. The entire time we were there on the east coast of Australia, Cyclone Albert was just spinning off of the east coast, which was a prophetic indication of what the Holy Spirit was about to do in that country. And it was amazing just to see I work with business people, right? So it's amazing just to see the business people in Australia begin to rise up. And God is going to do some amazing things in this country right here because of what he's doing in the nation. So
that's right. All right. So join us, Flashpoint, Colorado, April 30th to May 1st. A little different. Make note, it's a Wednesday night and a Thursday night. On nights only there in Colorado, so we want to see you there. And it's going to be nice weather right in front of Pikes Peak. It's a beautiful view. You will absolutely love it. And we're looking forward to seeing all the Charis Bible College students come as well. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. We're going to have a good time. All right. In light of that, let's move on to what's going on with President Trump. He, in typical Trump fashion, just when you think you've heard it off, he rolls out an idea about the gold card. What? Watch.
And I'm doing something else that I think is very exciting. Maybe I'm wrong. A gold card. For $5 million, you buy a path to citizenship in this country. We'll see. I believe that Apple and all these companies that can't get people to come out of college and come because they get thrown out. Think of it. You graduate #1 at the Wharton School of Finance or Harvard or Stanford, and you get thrown out of the country. You can't stay more than 1 day. And they want to hire these people. but they can't. They've complained to me about it. Now they can buy a gold card, and they can take that gold card and make it a part of their deal to get these top students. No different than an athlete, like a bonus. It's a signing bonus. And you're going to have a lot of people buy that. You're going to have a lot of companies buying gold cards. So for $5 million now, it's a lot of money when you add it up if we sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
If we don't, it's nothing ventured, nothing lost. But I think it's going to be very successful. You can't get a green card. A green card, this would be a green card on steroids. This would be much better than a green card.
Okay, so Mark Meckler, how many of those are you going to buy for some incoming brilliant talent to help you?
I don't think I'm not going to be buying any of those, none from me. But I do love this idea. I mean, I think this is fantastic. Generally speaking, if somebody can afford a $5 million green card, they're going to bring a lot of other assets with them into the United States, and they're going to do a lot of good for our economy. And this is one of the things that we've been so poor at with our immigration system, is we're bringing people in just randomly, not even doing any vetting. These people will be fully vetted, and we know they're going to have something to add to the economy. That's good for America, and that should be the entire premise for our immigration system.
What do you think, Pastor Hank? Gold cards. Good idea? Not a good idea?
Well, listen, I know it's probably too late for Trump to offer me one of those, because I am a U.S. citizen and I had brilliance through my high school years. But anyway, on the subject of what you're asking, I think it's a great idea because, listen, why have these people leave and then take their brilliance with them? Why not? Once they come to America, it's obviously they love this country. Anybody who really comes to this country finds out how great it is and sees the great opportunity. So I think, once again, President Trump has a lot of brilliance that I think is going to, again, in the technology and information age, only help America become greater again.
All right, Ed, I know you're sitting there laughing the whole time. You must have something profound to say.
I love it. I love it. I love this idea. By the way, I love everyone, right? But I love entrepreneurs. There's a very special place in my heart for business owners and entrepreneurs. And at heart, our president is an entrepreneur. He's a business owner, And what he just did on live TV is what business owners do all the time, which is just tossing an idea out there and just seeing how it works. So, for example, I'll be at an event and I'll come up with some idea a week before, but I'll just kind of say it like I just made it up, and just see how the audience reacts. If they look at me like I grew an asparagus out of my forehead, but then I'll throw the idea away. But if they're like, that's a great idea, then we'll move forward with the idea. And there's this whole sort of throwing mud against the wall thing that entrepreneurs do that I love. I love this idea. I love the fact that it's gold, of course, which connects perfectly with all of his buildings and the branding and everything. And I like the idea of businesses being able to invest in top talent. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I actually think it'll work. I think it'll work great. There's other countries in the world that do this. There's other countries in the world that sell literally dual citizenship pass to Americans who want to have an escaped route out of the country if they need to for $20 or $50 or $100,000. This is not a new concept, but I love how he sold it. That's what cracks me up the most about our president. Sometimes just the salesman inside of him that I really like.
I agree. Yeah, it's definitely Trump-esque. Okay, before I go on, I just want you to know, people on social media are commenting your plant is alive. My wife, Terry, texted me, good job, Ed, your plant's still alive. I don't know what you're doing, but tell your wife thank you for keeping the plant alive back there on your set. We're very proud of you.
I'm not doing anything.
There you go. Stay away from
I'm
it.
just looking at the camera.
Stay away from it.
It must be the energetics coming off of me. And my wife actually is putting some water in it. I think that was important as well. So thank you.
Good job. All right. Talking about getting paid, look at this. Doge protester said he's getting paid.
Yeah, I get paid to be out here.
You get paid to be out here?
Yeah.
Amazing. So some pack.
You really are getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, definitely. 100% I'm getting paid for this.
I wonder who's paying him, Mark Meckler. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's money that's flowing through Act Blue or through the U.S. aid programs, and that stuff's about to dry up. I have a lot of experience with being an activist and being out at events, large-scale grassroots events. I can tell you on the right, nobody ever gets paid. We take time off of our jobs, time away from our families, and we go out and do these things because we're passionate about them. I've known for a long time that the left gets paid. This isn't the first piece of evidence that we've got of that. And I think what we're going to see is some of this pay ties directly to criminal activities like those protesting at the Musk dealerships, at the Tesla dealerships. I think those people are being paid, and I think there's going to be investigations, and I'm hoping that some people are going to go to jail.
I think you're right, and I do agree with you. I hope they go to jail. All right, let me show you this. CNN Van Jones talks about the Dems that they're actually in disarray. Watch.
Listen, the Democratic Party is going through a massive set of internal crises. You have a party that got trapped two ways. One, defending a broken status quo that nobody likes because they thought that Donald Trump was going to make it worse. But when you're defending the status quo, you're going to lose. And then offending most people in the country, calling everybody sexist and racist and transphobic and every other name, and then saying, please follow us. That's not a good strategy, folks. Defending a broken status quo and offending most of the country turns out is not as popular as my party thought it was going to be. And so it's going to take a while for people to get it figured out. I don't like talking about this. I'd rather be beat up. Can you give me something I can beat up Michael about? I don't want to talk about my own party.
I know. It's a tough question. It's a tough question.
It's a tough question. I don't want to talk about it. Give me something I can beat up Donald Trump about. Yeah, Pastor Hank, this shows you where the left party really is. A lot of people have left the party.
Yes, a lot of people left the party, and here's why. I mean, if you watch President Trump's speech before Congress, and the ladies in pink who are supposedly standing for women's rights did not stand for the things that were truly right. And, it's too long to go through the list, but, it showed how cold their heart is. It shows how they've lost touch with the American people, who they used to say, the Democratic Party is the party for the American people. No, it isn't. Not when you cannot celebrate and stand up and really show your support. But don't forget what God said, and this is extremely important. He said there would come a day, we've been saying this on Flashpoint, when the Democratic Party would begin to turn on one another, key figures would leave, and the Democratic Party themselves would say, who can and will lead us now? And I'm telling you, the Lord also said that something different of the Democratic Party is going to seek to arise. And I think all that you're seeing happening, something else is emerging. Don't think for a moment their quietness is that they're going away. They're planning on how do we reshape the Democratic Party, because we've lost control of it. We don't have it. And the American people, to your point, Gene, they're leaving the Democratic Party.
They are, without a doubt, without a doubt. In fact, part of what they're leaving is the Department of Education. Of course, we know President Trump has made no bones about what his plans are. Linda McMahon is in charge now. Listen to this piece from Fox about he's going to close it. Watch.
Issue an executive order aimed at eliminating the education department as soon as today. The Wall Street Journal reviewed a draft of the order, saying Trump will task newly sworn-in education secretary Linda McMahon to, quote, take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the education department based on the, quote, maximum extent appropriate and permitted by law. McMahon was confirmed by the Senate on Monday. She says the American people and the president tasked us with accomplishing the elimination of bureaucratic bloat here at the Department of Education, a momentous final mission, quickly and responsibly.
All right, I want to quickly go to this next clip. This is Linda McMahon in her own words talking about it's really not working.
The bottom line is because it's not working. Department of Education was set up in 1980, and since that time we have spent almost $1 trillion, and we have watched our performance scores continue to go down. I do believe that it is a responsibility to make sure that our children do have equal access to excellent education. I think that that is best handled at the state level, closest to the states, working with state administrators, teachers, parents, who should have input into their curriculum.
Mark Meckler, this seems to be like a no-brainer to me. Of course, the states know what's best for their in their own areas, what they're going to do. Why would this not be a good idea to shut down a Department of Education that went back to 1979 under Jimmy Carter?
Well, I think it is a great idea. I think the left doesn't like it because the Department of Education is a gravy train for the left. This is just a way that they can insert their radical ideology into our schools all across the country. And there's a demographic factor here that's really important. I think it's often overlooked. our schools are these indoctrination centers, and this is really important for the left to maintain its power base, because people on the right have more children, and so demographically, the left is going to lose this war unless they can capture our children, and the schools are the methodology that they use for capturing our children. So if we destroy the Department of Education, if we remove the indoctrination channel, then our kids remain our own. Likely they get indoctrinated with our values, which are the appropriate values, and the left is going to lose in that case.
Well, let's go to let's go see what the teachers union thinks about. This is the teachers union president. What's the billionaires? They're the problem about it. Watch.
We want to bring the schools back to the states because we have the worst, literally, we have the worst education department and education in the world. We're ranked at the bottom of the list, and yet we're number one when it comes to cost per pupil. We want to not only have school choice, which is important, but we want to bring it back to the states so the states can run the schools, and they will be every bit as good as the top educational departments anywhere in the world.
So you feel good about the states governing education issues?
I do. Not all of them.
Rather than the federal government?
You can go back to the states, but I can tell you 40 states will have great. And then same ones that we have problems with everything else, they probably won't do as well, but we'll help them.
All right, so let me go to you, Pastor Hank. You're there. You're a pastor of a local church there in Omaha. You don't ever have any issues with the press or anything. You've got it really easy up there. I'm kidding. But you bring in, what Ed was referring to was really the churches used to be much more involved in the schools. We used to actually have study hall at churches. I remember that, to help you with your studies. So speak to all of that, Pastor Hank. The church's role.
Well, the church's role, first of all, we need to make sure that we are being a voice and also that we are advocates for children. And I think, one thing that Trump is doing is that's really what he's doing. He's advocating for children. And let's say this, for what is decent and what is moral. And to his point, it has become the Department of Indoctrination. And what a lot of people may not know that are watching is a lot of the curriculums have been funded by who knows what, the Department of Indoctrination, that aren't even from the United States, where they're getting their curriculum. They're rewriting our history. They're teaching kids to be anti-American, anti-God. And so that's why we in the church, we've got to speak up, because there was a point under the fake administration that we saw, and over the last few years, they were trying to erase the name of God out of our country, and they were labeling Christians as fascists, absolutely evil people. And God is just trying to interject himself back in our culture, and it's our role as churches to make sure that our kids are getting taught the truth on all levels.
I agree. It is absolutely without a doubt. Otherwise, is persecution and great revival at the same time. What does that say to you?
Yeah. Well, it's because what does it say to me is when God's glory begins to touch the earth, you're going to see corruption be exposed, like you saw in Exodus 32 with Moses, and the people were down corrupting themselves. God said, go down and let's deal with this. The other thing is change. Matthew 17, Jesus was transfigured in the glory. So we're seeing change. But here's another thing that happens. When God's glory shows up, he deals with his enemies. And that's what I'm believing is going to happen over Syria. When Jesus appeared to the Apostle Paul, he was on the road to Damascus, and he had a heart change, and he realized that there was something bigger that he was coming up against. And I believe by the mercy of God for those people in Syria, that the glory of the Lord is going to show up, and Jesus himself is going to get involved there. But we're going to see a great change. Exodus 14, when the pillar of cloud by day and the fire by night, it was God's glory. And guess what it did? It took out the enemy. This is what's happening in the nations. We're seeing God's glory, and we are in a global reset. So we have to continue to pray, because we are seeing the God factor, and it's not just for America, it's for the world. And as we press in, we will see the glory of God begin to bring swift and accelerated change, and we're going to see Jesus absolutely champion across the earth.
Amen. Mark Meckler, I want to give you a chance.